we're back on the air with a special edition of AHLPSN this week, the trade deadline show. As we approach week 7 tonight, the trade deadline is an hour away, and we're here to bring you all the last-minute trades and talk about what's been done so far. But at the beginning, we're going to start off just with what happened in week 6 and get to all of that good stuff right here. Hi, everyone. T-Sibs with you, as usual. And, of course, we got the typical gang here. To Graves, 6'9", Dealmaker joining us on the show today. Advanced Human and Matty Lucci with us as well. Gentlemen, thanks for being on the show today. And, boy, we're at the point now where it's, a very, very finite amount of time to maybe make a few more trades. There's been quite a few, and we'll talk about that in a little while. But the activity, part of the poll that I put out there, we'll talk about the poll a little later. But just right off the bat, Six, do you feel like there's more activity than other seasons, or is it just a lot of people in the shout box whining about trades more than anything else?
Yeah. I think it's I don't know. I don't think it's any more or any less. I think what you're seeing this season is a lot of management that's maybe new. We talked about it early in the beginning couple weeks of this podcast, how many new managers we have and things like that. So I think it's a little of that and a little people freaking out, right? They're looking at where they are in the standings, and there's a lot of teams that are 20 points back and things like that. So, I don't think it's anything different. So I don't think it's anything different at all. I just think it's status quo.
How are you feeling about it, the Graves? You obviously have had to make a lot of moves, and do you think there's more trading than we've seen before in other seasons? Is he there?
This guy.
Build up.
He's in the pool.
He was perfectly fine before.
He's probably swimming. Yeah.
He's there. No, he's there now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like last season was a lot more build up at the trade deadline, and this season's a little slow. I feel like there's a couple big names out there that we all know, and they've been kind of getting tossed around throughout the weeks. But honestly, I'm waiting for it to happen, like a big boom or something. I know Lucci, he's been traded a little bit here and there, and he got traded on the deadline as well. So maybe we can get a little bit of his. Maybe we can get a little bit of his insight about his kind of trade journey and where he's at the deadline too.
Well, let's
definitely.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I had my backpack ready. I'm not gonna lie. The whole time, look, it's right here. All right, I don't carry a suitcase no more. I'm not playing with that anymore. I just got a backpack, so I go quickly. Having a suitcase, it's heavy. Backpack, you just put it on there, you leave with it. That's it. That's all. Thanks a lot, D. Graves. I appreciate it. Twice, and not even. I think you did a trade on your vacation for me. All right. And not even in an hour, I was gone. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
As we got off that show, we said, "Oh yeah, he just got traded," and then a half hour later, after the show was over, he got traded again.
Sid heard me live cussing crazy. I was like, anyways, we're not gonna do it on the show.
We're gonna get a chance to play tonight with each. Oh shit, you just got traded again.
I actually joked with him in game chat right before that about how he keeps getting traded, and then he's like, "No, I'm on the Stars now. We're gonna tear it up." And like this and that, I'm just like, you'll be traded by it, and like, he's like, no way.
Yeah.
You know what though? I do feel special that D Graves took his time out of his vacation, not to come on the show, but to trade me. Hey, he had time for that. That's what I'm saying. It must be some kind of special somehow.
I don't know, man.
It means something to the organization that I am taking my vacation time to make moves. And, sometimes they might not be the right moves for the organization. But you know what? People, right after I traded for you, like, teams just, like, hit me up. I was like, whoa, this is pretty interesting. I was like, all right, let's do it. Boom. Lucci gone. I was like, damn, man, he just found his house to live in, man.
Yeah, no, he doesn't even
Everybody's kicking me out.
He's just sleeping.
It's bad enough I'm about to lose my house. It's all right.
He's sleeping out of his car at this point.
I'm on 4 flat tires. You guys saw that just before.
And you're basically at the same level of trading as man. So that's something that you shouldn't hold your head up too high about. But we'll try to get you above that status.
Whatever works.
Hey, let's start talking about the what happened in Week 6. Let's try and get through this as quickly as we can, so we can talk about the trades. And
hopefully we'll get one dropping here in a second here, Sibs.
Look at this guy.
We'll come in and talk about them as they happen. But let's look at the standings so far in the Eastern Atlantic. Hershey still up there at 69 points. You got Springfield, Lehigh Valley, the Pens in 4th, and then a little further back you've got Bridgeport 7 points out of a spot. Hartford 9 points out. They're a hit and miss team every week, and then Charlotte and Providence bringing up the rear in this division. Hershey 6-3 this past week, 7th in the power rankings. They had wins over Milwaukee, Toronto, and Iowa. Le Cupidon at left wing went 2-1, 7 goals, 7 assists, and a +8. 3-on-3, also a nice week with 9 goals and 3 assists. Dirty Bird in net, 2.61 goals against and a shutout. So Hershey still getting enough done. 6-3 every week is more than enough to get yourself in the lead and stay there. Springfield went 4-3-1. Twister went 2-1 this week, 4 goals, 9 assists, and a +4. And Nemodio at right wing, also 2-1, 5 goals, 6 assists. They're the line mates of Cornect, and so we wanted to give them guys a little bit of love. We talk about Corny a lot, but these guys have played incredibly well with them, and a solid line for Springfield. Red Raider in net again. Went 2-3, but 88 save percentage, 1.32 goals against. And with that 2-3 record, his 2 wins were both shutouts. So Springfield still maybe not have the greatest week, but even not having an off week, still going 4-3-1. Meanwhile, the Pens 5-3-1. The Phantoms going 4-5. They're hanging in there, but barely hanging in there. And to me, guys, I don't know who wants to take this first, but Hershey and Springfield are the 2 teams that are the front runners right now to me in this division, and I think they're going to eventually just pull away from the pack.
I think the Thunderbirds are not only the front runners in that division, even though they're not in first right now, but they're probably going to be. And I think they're also going to be the front runners in the whole Eastern Conference. If you look at their team, they have traded their way into making themselves a very stacked team, and I'm excited to see them. I think they're probably going to make it to the finals, so I'd like to see that.
Anybody else want to chime in on the Eastern Atlantic, or should we move on? It is what it is, right?
It is what it is. I'd have something to say, but I'm busy working here. Give me just a minute.
I'll say one thing is that the East definitely probably isn't as much of a pushover as it was in previous seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got some teams that actually, couldn't have taken down some of the big teams.
Right. Yeah, it was a big mix-up from early on, but I think the Bears and Springfield are starting to show what they're made of. But you still have Lehigh Valley and Wilkes-Barre. Them and Bridgeport are the ones who are really going to fight for those last 2 playoff spots, and I think that's where the interesting part of this race is going to be. Let's move on to the Eastern North, and we're looking at Rochester still now in front. We said last week we figured the Americans might very well pull away and wind up in first place this week. They're riding a 3-game winning streak. Toronto now a point behind. And then far back is Binghamton at 60 points, 12 points behind Toronto. Syracuse and Utica are there as well. Belleville and Laval.
What?
All of them. So those last 4, within 7 points spread for that last playoff spot. And I think there and Binghamton, again, you're going to have 5 teams fighting for 2 spots at the end. And Rochester, again, 6-2-1 this week. 4th in the power rankings, 6-2 victories over both Ontario and San Jose. So nice big victories against a couple of teams out west. Kachuk going 3-0 this week, 8 goals, 9 assists, a +9. Gerby with Yeah, Gerber with also 5 goals, 10 assists, a +9. West Side Hockey in net 4-2, 80 save percentage, 2.07 goals against, and a shutout. So nice, another nice week for you guys, 6, and your team just seems to be playing better and better. You haven't monkeyed around with the roster that much to this point, and I think that says a lot about why you guys are getting better every week.
Yeah, we worked hard. We had a huge mistake earlier in the season in bidding. I went on vacation. God forbid I do that. And when we moved guys down from our draft picks down, we didn't move them to TC. I had zero forward bids.
Wow.
To start this season. And if you look at how many trades I've made, I don't even remember, but one of my managers or owners of the NHL was like, I think we made 30 trades over the season.
Wow.
So it doesn't look like I've done a lot, but yet we have, as a team, made a lot of trades. A lot of small ones behind the scenes. Little things here and there, but I think for the most part, if you're not losing, right? If you're not losing, stay the course, right? And that's kind of where we're at. And, hopefully we see another bomb go off here in a couple minutes.
And the rest and the rest of that division, we talked a little bit about the Marlies. They went 4-3-2. 3-game losing streak. They lost to San Jose in Ontario as opposed to what Rochester did against them. Deer Hunter had a decent week, 5 goals, 4 assists. Sandman on defense went undefeated this week with a +13 as a defenseman, so that's pretty damn good. Fishy went 2-4 in net, 83.5 save percentage though, and 1.96 goals against. So just not getting the support, and that's kind of what you feared with the Marlies. Just not getting all the support in the world offensively, and they're struggling a bit right now. Binghamton in third in the power rankings this week, 7-1 versus the Western Pacific. Their only loss going to Ontario. Happy Man, 4 goals, 5 assists. Tai Chi with 6 goals, 3 assists. Frosty in defense, a +7. And Slamtastic, a +3. He went 2-1 this week. One of their goaltenders, Your Dad I Am, went 3-0, 96.4 save percentage, .33 goals against, and promptly traded to Hartford right after that. And we'll talk about that trade later on. I guess when you have Croc, you can do that. Crocodile going 5-1, 81 save percentage, 2.15 goals against. So some moves by Binghamton. They, again, had another solid week and are starting to make some noise there in that division. And right now holding on to third place, but plenty of teams, like we said, behind them, ready to maybe cause some problems. And the play in the bottom half of this division, and if Toronto doesn't turn it around, they could find themselves on the outside if they start losing a bunch of games the next couple of weeks. So, but the way, I'll throw it out there, the way that Rochester's playing, I kind of almost wonder if Binghamton's going to catch up to Toronto and maybe take that second spot. And Rochester seems like they're going to run away with this one.
What about the Laval Rockets? Weren't they like two weeks ago last place when we're looking at the stats?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. They bumped up. They're second place in the Eastern Northern Division. I mean, maybe because I'm from Laval, so I rep the Rockets.
Are you looking at the right stats? Or you're looking at PSN or Xbox?
You're looking at Xbox, bud.
Oh, maybe that. My bad. You know what?
This guy.
Let's rewind.
Are you new?
I think
you knew.
I'm like, they're worse than my team. We went on a 10-game losing streak. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think anyone really in that division was ever out.
Yeah. Syracuse went 5-2-2. The only team that really had a bad week, and I hate to say this advance, but the Belleville Sens at 0-7-2 this past week. And so, not a good week for your boys.
Just to boast, I was part of the 2.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that helps.
Doesn't help your guys, that's for sure.
Nope.
Hey, let's move on to the Western Central. You've got Manitoba on top there by 5 over Iowa. Chicago in third. 10 points back of the Wolves are Milwaukee. Then Rockford, Grand Rapids, Colorado, and Cleveland really dead last in this division. And the Moose 9-0 this past week, first in the power rankings, 8-0 against the Eastern Atlantic, so they feasted against that division. First in time on attack with almost 39-plus minutes on that side. Bertone, 8 goals, 5 assists, a +10. Snowy, 3 goals, 9 assists, a +12. And Yee Dipper on defense went undefeated as well at a +13. Churchy and Archmangus, 9-0 combined record this week, 1.22 goals against. So Manitoba just continues to roll on in this one. Meanwhile, Iowa, second in power rankings this week, as good as they played at 7-1-1, still trying to play catch-up to Manitoba. They were 6-2 in the Eastern Atlantic. They were second in time on attack, so right behind Manitoba in a couple of key stats there. Beast Forever and Tommy again leading the team in scoring. Go Hawks had a nice week, 10 goals, 7 assists. Sabres 2019, 9 goals, 4 assists, a +9. And Creaky in net, 2-0, 84 save percentage, 2 goals against. So Iowa, again, having a solid week, but just a little bit behind the Moose. Rockford we want to talk about. 5th in power rankings, a +71 shot differential, and that's first in the league for this week. 6-2 versus the Eastern Atlantic. Flynn, who I had the pleasure of playing with down in the CHL for a couple of weeks last year, playing very well so far for Rockford in this one. Went 2-1, 5 goals, 4 assists, a +5. King 94 had 3 goals and 5 assists. Land Creature on left D went 3-0 this week. Goal and an assist, a +7 on defense for Rockford. So the Ice Hawks having a nice week, and obviously going to need an awful lot to really get themselves back into this. But they are only 6 points behind for that last spot. And we mentioned Chicago going 5-3-1, Milwaukee 4-3-1. They didn't have great weeks this week, but they still wind up in the standings in this one. And there are quite a few teams who played well this past week. And other than Cleveland, you've got multiple teams who have a lot of talent. Colorado, I would be concerned about because of all the moves they make, but you at least have 5 teams that are absolutely in the running for a playoff spot. And Manitoba just continues to dominate in this league. DeGraves, give you a chance to talk about this division a little bit. We watched the Central a little because obviously we're hoping to play one of these guys in the semis, but just a ton of talent all the way up and down, and you could see any of the first 3 teams for sure taking the top spot. But Manitoba is just incredibly built and consistent week in and week out.
Yeah, without a doubt. I know I played the Wild and also the Moose once each in 1 week, and dude, I know we played like Beast Forever and the other guys top line, and dude, we got our ass handed to us. I think we lost like 10-3 and 11-4 or something. Like they're really aggressive. They really pressure you a lot. Sometimes they.
Oop, did we lose him? I think we got him back now. We lost you there for a second, DeGraves.
Oh, sorry. They're really good fundamental teams, and they play the game, and they have a lot of chemistry. And obviously, when you're putting up those kind of points, there's some chemistry going on there. So, those are three really good teams to play, and that's a pretty strong division in itself. So, being on the other side, going to the division finals, that'd be a tough matchup no matter what. So.
Yeah, that division's just scary. I mean, not just the top 3, all of them could, a lot of them could hurt you.
Yeah, for sure. They're a real good division without a doubt. They're really good. And I know I've played them almost every time that we've stepped on the ice with them, so they're pretty solid. I know they've handed me over about half of my losses.
Let's take a quick look at the Western Pacific right now as Ontario still stays on top now. A 12-point lead over San Antonio, who are in second place. They are playing well, but the Reign just continued to keep on having fantastic weeks. Bakersfield, San Jose, as you see, in third and fourth place. Texas not far behind, 4 points out of a playoff spot right now. Tucson 4 back of them. Then San Diego, who is not out of it. And Stockton playing better of late, but still way too many points behind at this time. 23 points can be done, but it would be a hell of an uphill battle to possibly make a playoff spot at this point for them. Ontario, we mentioned 6-3 this past week, 6th in the power rankings. 4-game winning streak. 6 of their last 7 have been victories. 5-2 versus the Eastern Eastern North, I believe it was. Losses to Rochester and Chicago this week. J-Ro going 2-1, 3 goals, 8 assists. Melanson at 2 goals, 3 assists. I see before you see in net 3-1, almost an 84 save percentage, 1.25 goals against, and a shutout. And let's talk to Dealmaker a little bit about his team. Again, you're getting some consistent producers on this team every week, but you also tend to get 1 or 2 who also have a really good week and bolster a little bit. Like you guys taking turns a little bit here and there in producing a little more every week. And with that depth of talent, you guys have to be pretty confident with what you're able to do come the rest of the week, the rest of the season, the next 3 weeks. It's you guys are in pretty good position. You got to feel like you probably just want to ride it out at this point, or do you feel like you still need to make moves today?
I mean, we're cruising pretty nicely. The Reign train's on the tracks, and but we're just there's no one star on this team. Everybody's contributing, and if one person in 1 week is the guy who led that week, it's because his shots went in.
Right.
Everyone's really putting in with the goalies, with me and IC. Whoever's there, it makes no difference. We're both gonna shut that door down. But we played Sunday night this week, and we got run over, got beat by Laval, and then crushed by the Americans. But we just didn't come prepared. We were all half asleep and this and that, and we got absolutely pummeled. But I mean, otherwise, we could have been top of the power rankings that week too.
Stockton Heat went 6-3. We mentioned that they played well this week. 8th in the power rankings, 5-3 versus the Eastern North. Wins against Rochester and Toronto, so they beat some good teams this week. Greek, everyone's favorite person to rip apart in the shout box. He had a good week. He went 3-0, 7 goals, 3 assists, a +8 this week. Memphis on fire, 2-0. On the left east side, no goals, 2 assists, but a +8. Real Teal in net, 2-2, 80 save percentage, 4 goals against, but faced 80 shots in those 4 games. And if you do the math real quick, that's on average 20 shots against a game. And you know what?
That's a lot.
To still come out of this with a 4 goals against and a 2-2 record, that's you know what? That says a lot about what Teal was able to do this week, despite not getting an awful lot of support there. Fire Mike, the other goaltender, 3-1, three goals against, a shutout this week. So Stockton doing it when they could and coming out with a winning record, 6-3. So good for the Heat to see them play better and getting an 8th ranking in the power rankings this week. The Golds, 5-2-2, 10th in the power rankings. Timmy Z with 3 goals and 5 assists, a +9. iPass also went undefeated this week, 2 goals, 6 assists, a +7. Sin Win on left D had a +9, and Nature X, who I played with over when it was Albany, their final season. Good dude and a good player with a +6 on right D. So they got some good defensive help this week. And the goals just trying to keep pace. Bakersfield went 2-6-1, so they took a bad turn this week. And San Jose 3-4-2 this past week. They're losing a little bit of ground as well. And so that Western Pacific now maybe starting to clear up a little bit with who's going to win it. I think Ontario, at this point, 6.
Don't say that.
I think Ontario.
Don't.
I know. I said Dealmaker had a great week, but I got to say it right now. Ontario wins the Western Pacific. I don't think there's any doubt about it at this point.
They're reigning. They're reigning on top. It is what it is.
And we're having fun.
Well, that's the most important thing, actually. As long as you guys, you got a group of guys that's going to have fun, nothing can stop you guys. That's what I think.
Everyone's happy. Everyone's coming on to practice. It's all working out. Never happened.
People are active on the Discord. People are active and talking to you guys. Live. That's what you need as a team. That's what's every team needs in LG is having we have platforms that we use outside of LG to make it work, and things like Discord are there to be practice meetups and stuff like that, and people need to use that, and people need to be active on those things to make the team work, because the more you're going to play with guys, the more you're going to get chemistry, the more you guys are going to have fun with each other, get to know each other, and blast it off there.
And I say it's overrated. It's overrated.
Sorry?
What's overrated?
Hey, I'm still in Discords from teams from back then, just because I go in there just to give them a shout out, and that's it, man. Like I'm a party person in that type of atmosphere, so they keep me in just for that. Or they like some of you guys were saying before the show, they just forgot to kick me out.
More than likely that's the case.
Probably the case. It's probably the case.
Hey, Deal, is there anybody else you're concerned about specifically in the Western Pacific? Obviously, San Antonio's right behind you, but is there anybody else that really concerns you that you guys are keeping an eye on because you feel like they've made some moves or they're showing some chemistry lately?
Well, I mean, any of the teams could win a hockey game. So really, you're concerned about anybody. But the teams are all looking good. They all have pretty good offenses. A lot of them, like even the Rampage, has 20 more goals than we have over the season, right? Mm-hmm. So, like that's a pretty scary looking team, to be honest. The Rampage, I would say them for sure. Condors and Barracuda, both good teams. Both good players and can definitely fight to hold those spots there. Texas, well, I mean, they have the Graves, so they're probably gonna, unless T-Sibs will carry for the rest of the week. I know it. T-Sibs is going to have a huge week because he's the best.
He's the best.
I sure hope
DJ
so.
Kelly.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I hope, happens for you like it did for me. But that about goes down. The Gulls, they have a good team. Everyone's got a really good team, but, are they going to win all their games that they need to? No. So really, I'd say that the Rampage and the Reign, I mean, I think we're going to be in it for sure. And the rest, I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. But I think that the Condors and Barracuda could hold those spots.
And a lot of confusion. There's some confusion in the shout box right now about the trade deadline. It is 5 Eastern. It's in the rule book that way. You can go check it out yourself in the rule book.
Eastern is normal time.
People are saying it's 6. It's not 6. It is in the rule book. The Sunday of week 7, that's today, and 5 p.m. EST. So... And now that's standard time, and what they really mean is 5 p.m. They're not distinguishing between standard and daylight time. It is just 5 p.m. So just understand. I'm pretty sure though
that we got a message from McDonald that said week 6 news. FYI, the deadline is 6 p.m. Waivers is 9.
Oh, lovely. Well, it would have been nice if you frickin' told me about that.
Yeah.
You didn't get the memo?
Nice.
I think they did like a pushback. So there's still an hour and a half left on the thing, I think.
Oh, and he also said that will be the remaining trading deadline time for the rest of the seasons, I believe. Did he not, 6?
I believe so, yes.
Well, it'd be nice if they changed the rule book to say that. I'm going by the rule book. They always say go by the rule book, and then they don't change the rule book. And that is always a problem. Genius. Okay, well, then we're going to be on. We're not going to.
I've gone through things where they say the rule book's a certain way, but they're missing words or they're doing this, and I say something, and they go, oh, yeah, well, we're talking about this. Okay, well, the rule book doesn't say that. You have to specify it. And they'll just give you some shit, and then they'll just ignore your messages.
Yeah.
So that's That's typically what's going on.
I'll tell
right
you
now.
what. Let's get ourselves into the trades and talk a little bit about what's going on. First, before we do that, let's take a look at the poll that I posted. You know, we posted one earlier in the week that, you know, we always try and gauge what people are thinking is going on as far as the happenings in the league. And of course, this is the trade deadline time, and so the question is, you know, what is your feeling on the trade activity made by the AHL management this season? And I gave people 4 options there, and they were to choose 2. And as you see, the top 2, very close, 1% difference, 1 vote difference between the idea that managers are quick to pull the trigger on players even right after trading them. And I've been in the league for several seasons. The number of trades doesn't seem more than past seasons. So 2 ideas there. People are thinking, no, it's not really that many trades different than any other season. But there is a prevailing thought, and that's why I put that first one in there. And I'll point this one at the Graves because I think he's a flagrant fouler of this one. Managers quick to pull trigger on players even right after they got done trading them. So is it? But and I kid about it, but I kind of feel like it's a bigger. The bigger question is this more about trying to make multi-team deals, and this is the easier way to do that, as opposed to trying to.
And the answer to that question is yes.
Okay.
You're quick to pull the trigger? I agree. Twice. I agree twice. 100%. Let me play a game for you. Let me get you a win.
I'll get a message saying, "Hey, go after this player," and then I'll give you the player you want. I'm like, all right, deal. Like, I mean, that's just part of the game. I mean,
that is part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some
100%.
managers are hard to deal with. They want so much, and then, you know, maybe you can provide it for them, and then you get them, and then they look stupid because they end up on your team. And so, I mean, I think that's the fun in games and it all. I mean, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that's a whole part of the trading process. There's always multi-team deals. Some teams just don't know about it, and they'll just have to get over it.
Well, I think Matty's, you know, we joke about it a lot, but I think Matty's been taking it pretty well. He is like, he'll play wherever he is asked to.
Exactly.
Play. But
I don't have an issue with that.
But what do you do with guys who have? I mean, look, we're going to talk about trades. You know, Billy O has been moved around.
Oh God!
Incredible amount of times, and you know, typically he's been traded with his buddy on multiple occasions. Outstanding skill. So, you know, one more trade. He's gotten traded twice in the last couple of days, and you can get moved around a lot, and it's okay. But I often wonder, how does team after team, after the first couple of trades of somebody, continue to think it's still okay? Maybe there's something else going on with this guy. Maybe I shouldn't trade for him. Why? How are teams so eager to take these 2 guys over and over
maybe he's
again?
an a-hole.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think that teams might want them, and then the team that they're dealing with trades them to someone else, and they go, okay, I got to deal with these people. And you start talking to those people, but then they find it for you. All right. And you go to the next team, and you keep trying. So it might be the same people trying to get the same 2 guys, and they just have to keep going from team to team because the other teams just keep trading them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a possibility. The other possibilities are dicks, and no one particularly likes them. I don't know.
See that's the thing. That's what you always think. Dicks. They got to be dicks.
Right.
Yeah.
I know he doesn't particularly like me. He thinks I'm a child, and I'm okay with that.
He's a dick that scores, though. He gets a lot of points. So, like, at what point do you put up with him being a dick?
Well, it depends on how he's scoring. Is he scoring like Lucci? Or is he scoring like regular people?
Right?
Pretty good.
He's getting 7 goals a game?
Nope. Maybe nope. Actually.
It only happened once, though. I'm not going to lie, against Providence.
That's not a bash about that.
Nothing to brag about. Nothing to brag about. I agree.
But whatever, he's back on the crunch now.
Hey, watch out for Providence. They're planning for next season.
I saw that. They're getting some. They're gonna move some people around. They're probably gonna get some draft picks. Who knows?
Well, we see a lot of turnover in these leagues, and so you wonder, you know, if they're, this is always the problem I have with the way management gets assigned. I feel like if you take management, you should be taking it for a couple of seasons. Only because you could decide to go balls out and trade away draft picks or whatever else. Although obviously your NHL owner is going to have a lot to say about that, but you could wind up making a lot of moves that really hurts the team down the road, and not really committing to what the future of the team is.
So does your theory count owners and then even in the AHL, you're talking like GMs? Or are you talking all management, GMs, AGMs, everyone, all management?
Well, I think it's a combination. As far as having to serve multiple seasons, I think the owner and the owner of the NHL team and probably the GM of the AHL team, just because I think those are the most. I
like that too.
Those are the most important people. The GM of the NHL team is will handle every day. But if the owner is going to be there for a couple of seasons, they have an overall view of where that team's going. And, in the end, they're going to really have a lot to say about where these trades are going. So I kind of feel like they got to make a bigger commitment, I think.
I like that idea too. I wouldn't give it to AGMs because you're now starting to deal. Why? You're starting to deal with people that have less and less power and less say in decisions.
Right.
So the people that have the most say, you would expect them to be there longer. So the NHL owner and then the GM of that NHL team and then the GM of that AHL team, a 2-year deal would be kind of cool idea to actually venture into. And then AHLs would just be 1 year, or you could do 2 if you want that. And then if you ever have to get one of them removed, because sometimes the rules, there's a little amendment there. The new serving GM would just be a 1-year deal until a replacement would come in. So I don't mind that at all.
Yo, Six, all I can say is be grateful that you had a bunch of drafted players on your roster, because I had 0, and I also had 0 round picks to even trade with or anything to do with my roster. So my team was strictly from last season and also bidding this season. So I'm like the only team in the AHL that doesn't have a drafted player like around my roster, unless I traded for one.
Those are pretty useful.
They are pretty useful.
Hey, just to talk about, just to go over a few things that have happened so far. We've had about 159 players, I think, right now in the past for this week alone. Right after the trading opened up on Thursday, we've had 159 players traded or parts of trades here and there. So, and as I look at them, there's only Lafleur is the only player in the top 50 in scoring that's involved in any of these trades. Billy is number 51 in scoring right now, and so you've got a couple of those guys. Outstanding skills, 71. Maddie's in the top 100 of scorers involved in trades. But you talk about top 100, you're talking about 8 players in scoring that have been involved in trades this past week. So a lot of the players that have gone are not necessarily top scorers, might be pretty good defensemen here and there, but aren't a lot of big names that necessarily people would say, hey, that's a big move, and that's somebody who's going to make a big difference on the team. And I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, because I'm kind of feeling like trade deadline is more about filling out the rest of the roster. You know who your top line is. You might even know who your second line is. But, maybe trying to get that third line solidified seems to be more about what this trade deadline is. What's your take on it, Six?
It's a little bit opposite for me. My second and third lines are pretty much set in stone. What I'm trying to do is we had a player sent down from the NHL, which helped us a little bit. But we also had a player just get.
We want to know who the player is.
Yeah, it's Air Raiders. But we also had a player who was traded off of our left wing, which was Pure in an NHL deal, and he just got banned. So, yeah, I'm going to be moving and shaking a little bit here. But the bottom line is in my situation, my second and third lines are solid. I have to shore up that first line, right? Kachuk is a beast and always will be a beast. We just got to find him good players. So.
I personally think that the trade deadline is meant for shitters to trade with other shitters. That's where you see more than anything else. You see a bunch of bad teams trading with other bad teams and bad players. And
one last push.
Right. It's a fun little mix up to your last chance to maybe at this point, it's no longer like, oh, let's gonna try some new people, maybe they'll play better. It's like we're gonna now trade of people that aren't working with people that some people on our team already know and can play with. And hopefully maybe that'll work because nothing else has. So that's kind of what it looks like. I personally don't know what's going on with my team. Don't really talk to the management there, but they're starting to move a couple of people, and it'll be interesting to see what's going on. I know we got Gutter Gun, so that's always nice. He's a cool dude. But yeah, just shitters trade with shitters, man. That's what this is about.
Well, I take that as an insult, as I've been traded every week on this show. But on the instance, I do have to say, like, you know what? Fidel Castro, that was taking care of Cleveland Monsters, man. I have to give him out. He was dealt, like, you know, a bad hand, and he took over the team. And all he's trying to do right now for the Monsters is get the team going and get active players. And a lot of people know me in the league that I play a lot of leagues. I play a lot of games, and you know, I played the games that I could right away. When he told me he had some games, he played me right away. And it's hard for teams that, you know, they to get players when you're on the bottom seed to get there. So he you know, I'm not gonna lie. I did tell him, like, listen, like, dude, like I've said at the beginning of the show when I started with LG that I wanted to be on a team that's going to make it to the end, and I'm really happy to be with Robo in a sense that you know, I know Robo, I've been picked up by Robo and stuff like that, and I don't agree. There's going to be a lot of changes done because of, you know, sometimes the players that are going to be dropped and pushed around, and it happens in my type of situation. I've been traded around, and it's not that I've not been producing. I have been producing everywhere I went. I've not always played. I've played a lot of top lines. I've also had a lot of situations where we played against top lines, and I was playing with TCs because a lot of people can't make the games, right? So it sucks in that sense, but you just deal with it. It's what it is. It's playing league hockey. You want to play another type of league, go somewhere else. You know, like you know, that's why I got the Birdhouse hat right here, because you know what, if I want to play drop-in and club, I go there. But when you're going in league, you're going to have to deal with what's going to happen, and sometimes it's going to happen that you're going to be traded around here and there, and I'm cool with it. I don't have a problem with meeting new people and playing with new players. You think it's the low bottom seed? I don't think so. I think, you know what, I think it was a good move that they picked me up. I think that it was a good move. There's a lot of trades going on happening, and I think it's going to happen that there's going to be a lot of changes happening. And you know what? I'm happy to be with Robo, and I'm happy that's there. I'm going to be there, and I'm a third line player. I know I'm not going to be in the first line. I'm going to probably be second, third, maybe. And you know what it is? It is what it is in this case. That it's going to make it happen. Barracuda is going to come in, and I'm sure it's going to happen in this sense. Like, I mean, Robo is a great guy for he's been a GM how many years, right? So it's sure. Bottom seeds. It's bottom seeds being traded, yes, but like you did say, you know, there are players being traded, and like, look, I'm kind of like a mascot of the league, mascot of every team I play with, and I'm cool with that. I play that role, you know, like I have no issues playing that, but it is what it is. There's going to be some players that are going to be traded around, and it's going to make a change. I can guarantee you that much. On my part, at least, I will try to make the change with the Barracuda 100%. Every team I go in, I try to make a change happen. And in the locker room, everywhere I go, I'm going to do that. And that's what I try to do. And I think there's other players that have to take that role too. It's not because you're going to get traded to another team that you can't make a difference. You just got to go to practice. You got to go get there and make a change.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do that I find, especially now it's getting later in the season. Teams that aren't doing as well, you'll see a lot more TCs starting to show up. I know in my game, it was one of the only ones that we actually made it to overtime with in all of our losses. But both of our defensemen were TCs, and one of the defensive TCs was a left wing. That, like, you know, you just kind of have to deal with what you deal with, and it's funny because you look the next year through bidding, you're like, oh, how these guys do? Oh, their record was shit. But you don't know, like, you can take a look, but you don't know all those guys are the TCs. Oh, that guy was a TC that doesn't even play that position. You're still using them. You know, you just kind of have to get through what your team is getting through, especially when they're not playing well. And that's just kind of the grind of the game. But you'll see it later on more than anything else, the TCs popping out. Mm-hmm. But for you, man, you just keep getting traded. So eventually you'll get traded to a team, hopefully, that isn't in that situation as much.
Yeah.
But you will because you're poo.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Nice. Hey,
advanced, not so advanced human. That's what I'm saying to you.
Trade just came over. Manitoba trading Churchy, one of their goaltenders, over to Laval for NHL. And, you know, with the goaltending situation in Manitoba, we already have Dr. Nasty and Arch Mangus who were there last season to help them win a cup. You could take Churchy and move him along and bring somebody like NHL back. 8-6 on the season, and 7 goals, 18 assists, a -5 and a plus-minus for him this season. He's not played bad, but remember that's on a Laval team that's been struggling. So I think a pretty good move to be able to shore up their team a little bit, and picking up somebody like NHL to add to their one of their forward lines, and give up a goaltender that, quite frankly, they don't need right now.
Well, Churchy had to go somewhere.
Right.
I mean, they have Arch and they have Dr. Nasty. I mean, Churchy's great, but I mean, you got guys that have been with the team for more than this season, right?
Right.
And they've done it before.
Yeah, I mean, Churchy, you know, he's 13-5. He's played well. Save percentage 84.5, 1.8 goals against. He's, you know, again, you've got that many goaltenders. You try and bring something back, and that's the kind of trade where if you got that kind of talent at goaltending, you try and take one of those guys who's been incredibly successful and bring something big back. And I'm assuming that Manitoba believes that NHL is the guy who's going to really add something to them, and hopefully they got enough back on this trade.
Yeah, or the deadline's in 12 minutes and they just had to get something.
Well,
no, it's an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, apparently now the deadline. Yeah.
Who knows if they know that? Yeah. We didn't know that.
Well, apparently it was posted in a manager's as a manager's thread, but of course the rest of the league has no clue about it. Always good to
taken away.
Always good to let a few people know about it, and not everybody. That's a good way to go about things. You know, you look at the trades and Colorado again. I think turned the whole team over basically. They made a trade a couple of days back with Hartford, where they picked up Billy O and outstanding skill. It was a 6-for-5 trade there. And then they turn right around. They pick up Chemtrails, then they trade him out almost immediately to the Rampage. I think that was a reversal of a trade. So, but then Pistol Pete and Brecht get moved a little bit later on. They pick up Don't Be Sad and Snowflake and Boys World. So they've moved a lot of players, and again, and a few more trades yesterday as well, or actually 2 days ago as well. So you turn over your team at week 7 again, and I think Colorado's made a lot of trades already. I can't imagine what kind of chemistry you think you're going to get with 3 weeks left in the season.
You don't.
It all depends on the practices. If there's, again, it goes back to if people are active on Discord and practices are happening and people are joining in. That's what I think. I mean, if people are active, chemistry can get built in a few days. That's what I think.
It's hard. It's definitely hard to see.
A few wins could do it.
Yep.
100%. A few wins can do it. Yeah, for sure. And if these guys are good players, right? Most of the time they gel pretty well together. You every once in a while you get a guy who's like, oh, I don't practice. I just show up for games because I'm elite, right?
You know it.
Those are those are few and far between. So.
Colorado's 20 points out of a playoff spot, and certainly
the wrong division.
I'm sorry?
So then they're in the wrong division to be 20 points out.
Oh, I see. I got you. It's an awfully tough division. As you mentioned, you've got 4 teams, and even those top 4 teams are separated by 20 points. So I can't imagine how they think they're going to make up 20 points in 3 weeks. I mean, it's certainly possible, but it's a lot to ask, and I don't know if that management's going to stay together for next season. But if not, I guess it's a roll of the dice kind of thing for these guys.
I think their only goal at this point is to not have too many people quit on them, and that they don't end up on the no management list for next season. That's the goal, just to try to keep everyone playing and everyone showing up, even if you're losing. Just that you're not going to get stuck on the list. So maybe you can have another chance next year.
Yeah, but then you also got guys to be ECUing possibly for Colorado. I mean, that team looks pretty stacked.
Sorry?
I mean, the Avalanche.
Oh.
Right? You have guys who want to stick around. The Colorado's going to, if people can't show up, people are going to be late. They're going to need people to jump in the playoffs. It's not just one team, right?
That's a valid point by Dealmaker right there in saying that, you know what, even if you're in a bottom seed team, it doesn't mean that you can't get called up. If you show that you got some potential and you're going to work it in and play with the team and deal with a struggling team, that the NHL that might need somebody for you will pick you up and say, hey, you know what? You've been struggling this, but you know what? We need a guy right now. Let's pick you up. And then who knows when you get that opportunity.
We got 3 minutes. Get to the DR.
Right? You got 3 minutes. Get to the DR right now. You're active. You're on. Let's make it happen. And that's when you get the chance to go on the big leagues. We're midway, right? We're not all the way down. We're not all the way up. But we're midway. So there's always an opportunity everywhere in LG. And that's what we love about LG is that you people hate it, people love it. It depends how you think about it. It's all your mind state of how you're going to pull out and think about what the opportunity you have every time you're going to go somewhere. And that's what I've done every time I've been traded. And I've been traded a shit tons, right? I'm not going to lie. I've been traded, 5 times, 6 times? Am I close to the record?
6.
I mean, D Graves, we deal with him on the show, but I'm not like him anymore. I thought I liked him. I'm not sure if I like you anymore. Like, you traded me an hour later, really, buddy? Like, I thought you kind of
bitter.
I'm just playing.
Hey,
I love D Graves. He's my homie,
it would have been somebody else.
Probably. But you know what? And that's why, and I'm still cool with everybody that I play with, and that's how my mentality is. You know what? It doesn't matter what team I play with. I'm gonna give the same effort that I give every time I go play a game.
Is this grounds for banning? I feel like he's advertising here.
Maybe. It's a possibility if you want to trade Lucci. He's the mascot of the league. He's gonna get traded left, right, center, and up and down and all around.
Yeah,
but whatever.
There's really not too many trades going on today, though.
I'm happy. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
What was the trade with the
Rockets? Are just throwing everyone out.
Yeah, Renault Turbo and Yobkov. Is that how you pronounce it?
Sure, why not?
Going from the Wild to Laval for Oduya like that. So a couple of names. Oduya we've seen before. 3-5-1 this season. 21 points, 7 goals, 14 assists, a -12 for him on the season so far. Renault, 11-4-1.
Defenseman.
A +37, 3 goals, 14 assists. So he's had a good season. Now moving over to Laval, and Yeah, I always think
that's gotta be a ball buster there.
Yeah, you got to understand though, man. Bad teams like this, the reason they're bad, and it's like a secret that's not a secret, is that defense wins you games. If you have good defensemen,
100%.
you'll be able to move the puck up. So now they're finally like, oh, let's get a good defenseman. We'll trade away a good player. It's a bit late, but sure, good luck with that. Teams that built good defensemen from the beginning, they're the ones that are doing well right now.
Advance, actually, you mentioned this, and we spoke, we played with each other and stuff, and you've been wanting to be going back to defense right now.
Yeah, I play defense normally, and I was supposed to do it this season, but I was told to move up to forward to play with Giroux, and then Giroux ended up quitting and being a little baby about things because he has a baby, and Demon's a whole nother situation. So I'm kind of stuck in a position I don't really want to be in, and I can't move out of it. So I'm just bearing down.
You play great defense, by the way.
I know. Don't tell people.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Right? But what was the reason why you couldn't get? There's a policy on this in the LG in terms that you can't switch positions and such.
Yeah.
Like that,
So
obviously.
management is allowed to switch positions. They're called utility players, what they want to call them. When I talk to Boggs and McDonald about this, they say it's only for CHL, and they're considered utility players. But nowhere in the actual rules does it say that it's only CHL, and it's not like color coordinated. It's just the new rules that came out. So I tried to fight. I really went against them on this one. They didn't have an answer. They basically said, it's what it is. So I was talking about that earlier in the show that it's not always within the rules. It's how they choose to use the rules to their standards. So yeah, I wasn't able to move to defense, which is something I think would have helped my team beneficially.
I think I played with you. We played like 4 or 5 games in a row.
Yeah, 6, 7
drop-ins.
Yeah,
something like that. I mean, you were playing defense. You were playing outstanding. I'm not.
No, you were playing with us, right? When you guys were all playing with us.
Yep.
Yeah, that too. No, I was
like
crazy streaks with Randy. I was playing with a couple people that haven't played LG in a little while now. But yeah, it's been interesting.
You were witnessing the legendary dropping king here. That's what you were witnessing. Hat trick every game.
Hey,
dropping LG. I can't do it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't do it. But in drop-ins, it is what it is.
Hey guys, I actually got a question for Six to go back to that trade for Iowa.
Yeah, where's that trade?
Iowa and Laval.
Hold on.
Let's talk about the trades.
Six, where's that?
It's all about the trades today.
Talk to the Boggs.
Huh? Where's that big old trade you're talking about?
Big old dirty trade.
He's working on it, I think. But I got a hold on a second. I got a question for Six here. We talk about this Iowa trade and trading away a good defenseman. I kind of feel like a team at this point now, if you've got defensemen that have been playing well, and of course I don't have all the details on why they felt they can move these guys at this point, but if you've got solid defensemen, you're going into week 7. How much do you feel like you got to get back from a forward before you could say, I'm going to trade away a guy who's been playing really good on the back line? I just feel like defensemen are so valuable, and you can get by with a forward line that may struggle a little bit, but I kind of feel like you need all 3 defensive pairings to be pretty solid. What would tempt you to trade away a top line defenseman?
And I'd like to add on to that the Wild is not struggling.
Yeah, I mean, to answer the question, it would be a lot. And the reason that is because I felt like, at least in my opinion, I felt like last season when I went into this league, into this season, last season, I went real heavy on forwards. Spent a lot of money, didn't spend any money on defense. 500K Warriors, right?
Right. And
later in the season last year, it bit me, right? It bit the team. We started to see weaknesses. We went through, I don't even remember what it was, 6 weeks or something silly like that in first place. And in the last 2 weeks, we just got overtaken. And knowing what I know now, it would take a ton. I think, as far as I'm concerned, forwards, I play forward, right? It's there. Put it there for you, right? I'm not. I think forwards can be replaced, where defensemen are extremely
100%.
important.
Right.
Extremely
100%.
Let's talk a little bit about the trades that have been made. For anybody who wants to start off, if not, I will. With the trades that have been made, have any of them stuck out to you as far as who you think might have made a trade that is going to get them in a position where they're going to be solid in the playoffs, or any trades that you think were kind of out there? Anything stand out to you guys? Whoever wants to jump in first. As far as what you've seen.
There's been a lot of big trades, but they've happened mostly like 3 weeks. When teams saw it early that they're going to need, more and more to get where they want to go. So, I mean, they saw that early. There wasn't, a whole group of big names available. A lot of teams didn't have stacked lines and superstars on every line, so they were far and few in between, right? So most of the teams saw that and went out early and didn't wait till last minute. So, I mean, some of the trades, like, the Kornek trade, the Matt Loxa trade, even though he hasn't played, or I don't know what happened with Bruce, but whatever. Toasty, all the big names, Leets. Every big name that was, a lot of teams bid a lot of money on these guys, was hoping. Even Squid got traded, right? 8.5 million. So I think a lot of these big name trades happened earlier in the season when teams saw, they were going for it. This is what we're going to do. Let's start early and, go into the playoffs, on fire.
Yeah, well, Toasty got traded because he said he wasn't going to play anymore. That was kind of a different situation, but he's still here.
And there was one trade that I was a little confused about, and I see Smash and Grab in the shout box, so I'm hoping he doesn't take any offense to this, but there was a trade between the Devils and the Hartford Wolfpack yesterday morning, where Smash and Grab was sent to the Devils for Kuntak, Risk, and Your Dad I Am. We mentioned Your Dad and his numbers this past week and how well he played. Smash is a really good guy. He's a decent player. I just didn't understand giving up 3 players for one in this instance, and a goaltender who's been playing well. Did this trade look a little odd to anybody else?
Sorry, which trade was that? Pulling up.
That was the Devils and the Hartford Wolfpack.
Oh, the Risk, the Smash and Grab trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a lot of. And I see that Your Dad I Am has been, crushing it. Kuntosh, same thing. So I don't really get it either.
And anything else as far as what you saw in trades? I mean, again, we talked a lot about what Colorado and all the moves that they've made. There have been a few yesterday and today that the Rampage, who are not far behind in their division, but they've got some work to do to try and catch up, or at least hold on to a spot. They moved some players and picked up the Sophist from Colorado. They picked up picked up Kuntak a little later on from Hartford, giving up Tom Along and Killer ZQC, which I thought was
big, yeah,
fairly big trade, part of an NHL deal apparently, but certainly Rampage losing a couple of good players there.
Yeah, they also actually traded a really good defenseman, JWVA for Cowboy. Both really good D, so we'll see how that works out for them.
And we mentioned Billy Yeo, an outstanding skill, getting moved as well a couple of times this week. Providence and Cleveland moving players around. It's moving goaltenders, switching part of that trade, swapping goaltenders between Punisher and Newfie. 2 guys I like a lot. Newfie, friend of mine, and was a damn good player. But again, you see a little bit what you were talking about earlier, Advanced, about a couple of teams who make some moves, and you wonder if it has anything to do for the future, or if it's just to see if you can get something sparked up with a change of venue for goaltenders. And just, a few other moves of some players that we don't know an awful lot about, but certainly CHL players, guys who haven't had a lot of time up in the AHL, may have played a couple of drops here and there. A couple of TC games here and there. But as I mentioned, like big number producers as far as trades are concerned this week, just not overwhelming numbers from guys or players that are, no Cornex really going this week as far as like a lot of big names. And again,
he's got to be the biggest.
Yeah, I kind of think you really have to get an incredible trade that's going to bring back a lot of missing parts that you feel like can get you into the playoffs if you're going to part with a guy like that.
Another team too, like we keep saying, like Kornak has definitely been the biggest name move this season. That was a pretty good trade. Mr. Tryhard's great too, but Kornak can, he scores a lot of goals.
Right.
He can win games for you, and he's a pretty big player. Pitcher Swagger also got moved, and that was a pretty big one.
Sure.
Anytime someone big goes to the Moose, that kind of sucks.
Major, when you think about it.
Yeah, and I saw. Obviously, Gauchi was part of a bigger trade that was made with the NHL, but Gauchi going over to Chicago now.
The Beast.
And so
Gauchi, the Beast, he's went up.
See how he winds up. Dangletown Sniper as part of a deal heading over to Belleville, and certainly could help out over there. But again, nothing that I think is mind blowing as far as I think this is going to really help change a team and get them. They might be 10 points out of the playoffs, get them into a playoff. I just don't see that in much of anything that I saw trades this week.
Have any of you guys played against Dangletown on D?
I haven't recently, but I did play with him when he first showed up in the AHL, and that's where I got to know him on Tucson, and was a solid player there and made his name and started to just play more and more up in the AHL after that.
But on D,
I have not.
I also have not. I'm curious to see how it works. I know that Belleville, make a big push. Real Demon just messaged me. I don't know why he would message me and not Advanced Human.
He's been going on the shot box. He's asked me to shout it out. He's like, get 3 W's. So Real Demon, what it is, he's been going at it on the shout box. So we got to give him a shout out. What up? But I wanted to know, there's been something happening with Real Demon. He's didn't he get like a ban or something happened to him, or suspension?
I think it was a roster thing.
His roster. Let's talk about it. Let's bring it out to the table. He's on the shot box. Might as well talk about it right now. We're live. Let's make it happen, boys. Anybody knows about that? King talked to me about it. I'm gonna let you guys talk about it because I don't want to go in that aspect there. But there was a ban on him, no, or a suspension. Anybody?
I think it was just like a roster thing. Yeah. Too many players. Remember, I saw it in the. So it was a dumb mistake, probably. I don't think it had anything to do with anything important.
But I wish we had Advanced still here that he could talk back on that. Yeah, he's not here right now. We lost D Graves and we lost Advanced Human, but he's an Advanced Human out
Graves
there.
He may be trying to make some trades right now, so we'll.
Yeah,
he's probably trading for me.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Robo's not letting me go though.
Yeah,
Robo's my homie. He's not letting me go. He's not letting me go.
Odds?
I know that.
Vegas odds.
Hey, we're gonna. I tell you what, because we're not gonna wait here for another hour for the trade deadline. that was not updated for us. Let's finish up here, and just one more question going around. We'll start with Six so we can let him get going. Do you expect anything else big happening in the next hour, next 45, 50 minutes as far as trades are concerned? Do you think most GMs are done here?
No, I think they're. I'm still working, right? I'm still pounding away here on the keyboard. So, I hope to get something done, and I think you'll see some things falling through here in the next hour or so.
Dio, what do you think? You think you're still going to see some big trades here?
Oh yeah, for sure. All the big names, everybody. If you costed $5 million or more, you're on the move. No, nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing.
There's just gonna be a lot of small teams, like you said. They're gonna be, bolstering up third lines, taking, maybe the defenseman you've had all season and just, trying to see if you can get an upgrade or, whatever they have. And yeah, I don't think there's gonna be anything. I mean, there'll be some more trades for sure. There's the last minute trades, TC trades, getting those, the P status players for the teams that are going to need players and they don't want to forfeit every game. Those ones are going to stack up on all the P status guys who want to just, get a shot in the AHL. But, I mean, that's all I see happening.
Maddie, go ahead.
I'm just hoping I'm not going to get traded again. I love Robo. Robo was the first team that I got picked up in LG. And he's my dude, so I hope he's not going to trade me like D-Grace. Is all I'm saying.
All right, boys, it's been fun. I'm bouncing out. You guys have a good one. Yeah, thanks very much.
We're going to wrap it up here anyway. Thanks for Six and Maddie Lucci and Dealmaker and everyone else joining us here today. I want to thank Advanced Human. And thank you, folks, for watching PSN Hockey on LeagueGaming.com and the YouTube channel. You've been watching at least some of the trade deadline special. The trade deadline is 6 p.m. Eastern time. Of course, I'm just finding that out. Hope that you either stay with a good team or go to a good team. Good luck to the rest of you the rest of the way here on the final 45 minutes of the trade deadline. T-Sib saying so long. Talk to you next week.